All right, Bills Mafia, let's dive straight into this because the Buffalo Bills are once again making headlines, and not just for what's happening on the field, but for the moves being made off it. Before we get into all the details, let me remind you, our Bills are always looking to improve, always searching for that extra edge that could finally push them past the AFC Championship barrier and into the Super Bowl. That's the mission, and that's what drives this team. So if you believe in this journey as much as I do, smash that like button right now, subscribe to the channel, and join the conversation in the comments, because this season is about all of us pulling together. Now, let's talk about the latest shakeup that has everyone buzzing. The Buffalo Bills will begin the 2025 regular season against the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday night in what's shaping up to be one of the biggest Week 1 matchups in the NFL. But they'll be doing it without one of their most reliable specialists, kicker Tyler Bass. Bass, who's been the anchor of the Bills' special teams unit since 2020, was placed on injured reserve just 2 days before kickoff. The culprit? A lingering hip and groin issue that's been nagging him all offseason. For the first time in his career, Bass will miss a game. In fact, he'll miss at least the first 4 weeks of the season. That's a tough blow for Buffalo, because when you're a team with championship aspirations, every point matters. So what do the Bills do? They turn to veteran Matt Prater. Now, Bills fans, if you've been following football for the last decade and a half, you know this name. Prater isn't just any replacement kicker, he's one of the most experienced legs in the league. The 41-year-old is entering his 19th NFL season with a resume that includes 2 Pro Bowls, a reputation for long-range accuracy, and even an NFL record under his belt. But here's where things get interesting. Instead of signing Prater to the active 53-man roster, Brandon Beane and the Bills front office pulled off a financial maneuver that's not very common. They elevated Prater from the practice squad, meaning he'll play Sunday night, but technically remain off the permanent roster. This decision leaves the Bills with 52 players active instead of the full 53. Why? Because if the Bills signed Prater as a vested veteran before Week 1, his salary would have been fully guaranteed for the season. By keeping him on the practice squad, they pay him on a per-game basis, giving themselves flexibility if Bass heals faster than expected or if they need to explore other options down the road. It's a clever move, but it also carries risk. Prater can only be elevated 3 times before the Bills are required to sign him to the roster. Bass is required to miss the first 4 games, which means there could be a 1-week gap where Buffalo needs to make a big decision. Do they commit to Prater for the rest of the year, or do they look elsewhere? And let's not forget, special teams often get overlooked until the game is on the line. How many times have we seen a playoff run, or even a season, come down to a single kick? Think back to last year's AFC Championship game when every point mattered against the Chiefs. Now imagine being in that position this year without Bass. That's why the pressure on Prater will be massive, even in Week 1. But here's something else to consider, Prater's track record. Last season, though limited to just 4 games with the Arizona Cardinals due to a knee injury, he was perfect. 6 for 6 on field goals and 10 for 10 on extra points. He's got the experience, he's got the composure, and he's got the leg. The question is whether his body can hold up for a stretch run at age 41. Beyond Bass's situation, this roster decision raises bigger questions about the Bills' approach in 2025. With Josh Allen in his prime and a window that won't stay open forever, every little detail matters. The Bills already have their challenges heading into this opener. Wideouts Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman are banged up, the defense is dealing with suspensions and injuries, and now the special teams unit has been reshuffled. And oh yeah, they're going up against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, one of the most dynamic teams in football. Let's be real here. Sunday night is going to test the resilience of this squad. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson is going to be must-watch TV, but games like these often swing on the smallest margins. A made kick, a missed kick, or a critical special teams play. That's why this storyline with Prater and Bass is bigger than people might think. And I have to say, I respect Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane for being proactive. They didn't wait until Bass was limping into a game. They didn't roll the dice with an unproven rookie like Caden Davis, who had been on the preseason roster. Instead, they went for one of the most battle-tested veterans available. That tells me they're serious about making sure this season starts on the right foot, literally and figuratively. Now, let's talk about the broader implications. The Bills chose to operate with only 52 players this week. That's unusual, and it says a lot about how much they value flexibility and financial planning. Every roster spot is valuable, but in this case, the front office decided that protecting their cap space and keeping their options open outweighed the value of filling that final spot immediately. This is a gamble, but one rooted in long-term thinking. The Buffalo Bills have made two key pre-game moves in preparation for their primetime showdown with Baltimore. The first, and the one grabbing all the attention, is that 41-year-old veteran Matt Prater will officially handle the kicking duties. With Tyler Bass placed on injured reserve due to lingering pelvic soreness, the Bills elevated Prater from the practice squad to step into one of the most pressure-filled roles in football. This is a fascinating decision because it's not just about plugging in a replacement, it's about trusting a battle-tested veteran who's been through nearly 2 decades of NFL wars. Remember, Prater has been in the league since 2007. He's played in Denver, Detroit, Arizona, and has built a reputation as one of the league's most dangerous long-distance kickers. In fact, he leads all active players with 81 field goals from 50-plus yards. That's not just skill, that's a weapon. And in a game where 3 points can decide everything, it's something Buffalo desperately needs right now. Now, let's be real here. Bass missing time is a big deal. He's been a steady presence since joining the Bills in 2020, and this will be the first game of his career that he'll be forced to sit out. That tells you how durable and reliable he's been. But the injury bug doesn't care about durability, and after battling soreness since late July, the team finally made the tough call to place him on IR after Friday's practice. That guarantees he'll miss at least the first 4 weeks of the season, with his earliest possible return coming in Week 5 against New England.
So the pressure shifts squarely onto Matt Prater's shoulders. For him, Sunday night's matchup against Baltimore will mark his first live game action since Week 4 of last year with the Arizona Cardinals, when a left knee injury ended his season. Think about that, nearly a full year out of action, and now he's being dropped into a high-stakes, nationally televised primetime game against one of the NFL's toughest defenses. That's a challenge. But if there's anyone who can step up to it, it's a kicker with almost 20 years of NFL experience. And this move isn't happening in a vacuum. The Bills actually made a second roster elevation on Saturday, calling up interior offensive lineman Kendrick Green. Green, a former third-round draft pick, provides much-needed insurance on the offensive line. With a defensive front as aggressive as Baltimore's, protection is critical, and having Green available gives the coaching staff a little more flexibility and security if things get dicey up front. What's equally interesting, though, is what the Bills didn't do. Despite Tre'Davious White being listed as doubtful, the team chose not to elevate veteran cornerback Dane Jackson. That decision speaks volumes about the confidence this staff has in their young defensive backs, particularly 6th-round rookie Dorian Strong and local product Jamarcus Ingram. Instead of playing it safe and leaning on a veteran, they're betting on their young guys to step up under the bright lights. That's bold. That's risky. But it also speaks to the Bills' long-term vision, developing and trusting their young talent to handle big-time situations. And let's not overlook the bigger picture here. These aren't just minor roster tweaks. They're strategic moves that could influence the outcome of a game that already has huge implications. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson is the headline, no doubt, but games like this often come down to depth players and special teams. A missed kick, a made kick, an offensive lineman stepping in to protect on a critical drive, a rookie corner holding his own against a Pro Bowl wide receiver. These are the margins that separate good teams from great ones. For Matt Prater, this is more than just another game. This is a chance to remind the league that he still got it, even at 41. And let's be honest, Bills Mafia, if he nails a 55-yarder in the fourth quarter to put Buffalo ahead, how fast do you think this city will embrace him? For Kendrick Green, it's about proving he can still be a valuable piece in this league, a guy who can step in and provide stability when his team needs it most. And for the defense, this is about showing that even with injuries and suspensions, even with questions in the secondary, they can still rise up and compete against one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in football. The Bills aren't walking into this matchup at full strength. They're walking in banged up, patched together, and relying on both veterans and rookies in critical spots. But that's football. That's the grind. And honestly, that's where great stories are born. Now, I want to turn this over to you, Bills Mafia. How do you feel about the decision to roll with Matt Prater as the kicker while Tyler Bass heals up? Do you trust his leg in big moments? Or are you nervous about relying on a 41-year-old coming off a major injury? And what about the secondary? Do you like that McDermott is putting his faith in rookies like Dorian Strong, or would you have preferred to see a veteran like Dane Jackson get the nod? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think. Because this isn't just about a single game, it's about the way this team is managing a season where the margin for error is razor thin. And I want you to drop your thoughts in the comments because I want to hear what you think. Because this isn't just about a single game, it's about the way this team is managing a season where the margin for error is razor thin. So Bills Mafia, here's where I turn it over to you. How do you feel about this decision? Are you confident in Matt Prater stepping in for Tyler Bass? Do you think this 52-man roster strategy is smart business, or do you worry that it could come back to haunt the Bills if injuries pile up? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you. Do you trust the front office's decision-making here, or do you think they should have played it safe and locked Prater into the roster right away? One thing's for sure, Sunday night's game is going to be a thriller, and this kicker storyline might just play a bigger role than anyone expects. The Bills are chasing greatness, and every move they make is part of that journey. So once again, smash that like button if you're fired up for the season opener, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our exclusive coverage, and make sure to share this video with every member of Bills Mafia you know. Together, we're going to ride every high, endure every low, and hopefully finally celebrate that trip to the Super Bowl. Buffalo is 52 strong heading into Week 1. Let's see if it's enough to take down the Ravens. Now, what do you think, Bills fans? Would you have handled the Tyler Bass situation differently?